Your first day is a test. Can you act normal for 8 hours? These 101 people couldn't last 8 minutes. We are talking 5-figure damages, accidental felonies, and careers ending before the orientation video even finished. If you think you've had a bad start, wait until you hear how these idiots destroyed their livelihoods in record time. 1. A marketing rookie hit reply all on his own welcome email to 500 people. Instead of a polite, excited to be here, he accidentally attached a private message intended for his girlfriend that described, in vivid detail, exactly which female coworker he wanted to hook up with. He was escorted out before he even got his login password. 2. Lying about being forklift certified is all fun and games until you actually have to drive one. Within 10 minutes, a warehouse new hire managed to impale a pallet of industrial paint, creating a slippery, colorful river that flooded the loading dock and ruined $40,000 of inventory. His shift ended right there in a puddle of blue disaster. 3. Imagine walking into the break room and handing your trash to an older guy in a suit, assuming he's the janitor. One confident sales rep did exactly that, telling the man to look alive and clear this table. That man was the CEO, who had just flown in to meet the new team. Talk about a first and last impression. 4. Wireless headsets are dangerous weapons in the hands of idiots. A customer service agent forgot to hit mute, walked into the bathroom, and treated a furious customer and the entire call center floor to the crystal-clear audio of a very long, very struggle-filled flush. She literally flushed her career down the toilet on day 1. 5. Asking questions is good, but maybe not this question. During the mandatory safety briefing, a new guy raised his hand and genuinely asked the HR director, "So, if I fail the drug test tomorrow, do I get a second chance or am I just screwed?" The silence in the room was louder than any alarm. He was invited to leave immediately. 6. One ambitious genius misunderstood the work-from-home equipment policy. After orientation, security cameras caught him casually unhooking a 27-inch iMac and an ergonomic chair, then trying to wrestle them into his Uber. He thought company property meant a parting gift. The police had to explain the concept of theft to him on the sidewalk. 7. Nerves make you do crazy things. At the end of a high-stakes introductory call with the regional vice president, a nervous junior executive meant to say, "Thank you, sir." Instead, his brain short-circuited, and he loudly chirped, "Okay, love you, bye." He stared at the phone in horror while the VP just hung up in confused silence. 8. Burning popcorn is an office crime, but this was a felony. A hungry intern threw a bag of popcorn into the break room microwave and set it for 10 minutes instead of 2. The resulting cloud of black smoke didn't just smell bad, it triggered the sprinklers, soaked the server room, and forced the entire building to evacuate into the rain. 9. Never park in the spot marked "Reserved for Dr. Smith" unless you are actually Dr. Smith. A new dental assistant ignored the signs because she didn't want to walk far in heels. Dr. Smith arrived, couldn't park, blocked her in, and had her car towed while she was filling out her W-2 forms inside. 10. Social media addiction is a disease. A fast food worker live-streamed his first hour on the job, giving a tour of the kitchen. He thought it would be funny to dip his sneakers into the deep fryer for clout. The health inspector wasn't watching, but the district manager was. He was fired via a comment on his own live stream. 11. Casual Friday is a trap for the clueless. One coder showed up in a full-body fuzzy onesie and bunny slippers because he heard the startup had a chill vibe. The vibe was definitely not chill enough for him to sit through a serious client presentation dressed like a giant infant. 12. A retail newbie saw a red button under the counter and wondered what it did. It was the silent panic alarm. A SWAT team swarmed the store, tackled a confused grandma buying knitting needles, and the new guy had to explain to the police that he just liked pushing buttons. 13. While riding the elevator, a new hire loudly complained about the ugly vomit-colored logo the company used. The woman standing next to him, silently nodding, was the lead graphic designer who had spent 6 months creating it. The elevator ride down was the longest 40 seconds of his life. 14. The IT guy specifically said, "Don't click suspicious links." 10 minutes later, a new admin clicked a link promising free cruise tickets. She didn't get a vacation, but she did gift the company a ransomware virus that locked every single computer in the building for 48 hours. 15. Pet-friendly office usually means a well-behaved golden retriever. It does not mean bringing your 6-foot boa constrictor. A new developer draped his giant snake over his cubicle wall, causing the marketing team to scream and barricade themselves in the conference room until animal control arrived. 16. We all hate orientation, but you can't just leave. One guy told his trainer he had to grab a pen from his car. He drove home, took a 3-hour nap, and tried to sneak back in later, claiming he got lost in the parking lot. GPS exists, buddy. 17. Icebreaker games are painful, but keep it PG. When asked to share a fun fact about himself, a new hire cheerfully described his extensive collection of preserved roadkill in his basement. The room went dead silent, and his desk mate immediately requested a transfer to a different floor. 18. A car dealership porter was told to wash a brand new Corvette. He decided to take it for a quick spin first. He spun it all right into a concrete light pole at the edge of the lot. He totaled a $90,000 sports car before he even found the soap. 19. For 8 straight hours, a nervous new assistant called his female boss Mommy instead of Tammy. It happened once by accident, but then he panicked and just kept doing it because he was too embarrassed to correct himself. By 5 p.m., everyone was too uncomfortable to make eye contact. 20. The office plumbing was old, but the new guy didn't care. He flushed a massive wad of industrial paper towels, causing a brown geyser to erupt in the men's room. The sewage floodwater seeped out into the hallway carpet, and the smell lingered for a week. 21. A corporate launch event had an open bar. A fresh college grad treated it like a frat party, pounding tequila shots until he vomited on the CEO's suede shoes. He was carried out by his dad, who unfortunately also worked there. That is a double family tragedy. 22. An intern was told to shred a stack of old documents. She grabbed the wrong pile and shredded uncashed payroll checks for the entire department. Watching 50 people realize they weren't getting paid, that Friday was a special kind of horror show that she didn't survive. 23. A security guard managed to lose his own badge, gun belt, and radio within the first hour of his shift. He left them in a bathroom stall, and when he went back, they were gone. A security guard who gets robbed on his first day is basically a walking oxymoron. 24. Remote work requires pants. A guy stood up during a Zoom onboarding meeting to close his blinds, revealing he was wearing nothing but boxers with cartoon ducks on them. The webcam angle was unforgiving, and the screenshot is now a permanent meme on the company's Slack channel. 25. Confidence is key, but delusion is bad. 2 hours into his first shift, a burger flipper walked into the manager's office and demanded a raise because he felt he was overqualified for the grill. He was promoted to customer instantly and told to leave the premises. 26. Trying to be the funny guy too soon is suicide. A new hire hid behind a door to scare a coworker. He jumped out and screamed, "Boo!" at a woman carrying a tray of hot coffee. She wore the scalding coffee, and he wore a termination notice 5 minutes later. 27. The copy machine is not a toy. A guy tried to photocopy his face as a joke. The glass shattered under the weight of his head, slicing his forehead and destroying a $5,000 machine. He left the building with a bandage, a bill for repairs, and no job. 28. A genius retail worker tried to clock in for his friend who was running late. The manager was standing right there, watching him swipe 2 different badges. Getting fired for time theft before you've even worked a single hour is practically a Guinness World Record. 29. Never lie about your skills. A chef claimed he could run the hibachi grill. He tossed an egg in the air, missed it, slipped on the yolk, and fell face first onto the hot griddle. He walked out with a burn mark on his cheek shaped like a shrimp. 30. A delivery driver loaded his truck and forgot to close the back door. He drove 5 miles down the highway, leaving a trail of packages bouncing onto the road behind him like breadcrumbs. He arrived at his first stop with an empty truck and a very confused look on his face. 31. Wet concrete looks solid, but it is a dirty lie. A rookie paver decided to take a shortcut across a freshly poured sidewalk to get to the lunch truck faster. He sank to his knees, got stuck, and the crew had to chip him out like a fossil, while the foreman screamed in pure agony. 32. MRI machines are basically giant, always-on magnets. Despite warning signs everywhere, a new hospital orderly pushed a metal cleaning cart into the scanning room. The machine sucked the cart across the room at 50 miles per hour, pinning him against the scanner and causing $2 million in damage instantly. 33. The grease trap is the foulest thing in any restaurant. A busboy was told to empty the bin out back but chose the wrong drain. He dumped 5 gallons of rancid, hot fryer oil directly into the city's storm sewer right in front of an EPA inspector eating a burger nearby. 34. Wearing a long tie near an industrial shredder is a death wish. A fashionable intern leaned in too close to clear a paper jam, and the machine grabbed his silk tie. He survived only because the receptionist tackled him with scissors, leaving him breathless and half-naked in the mailroom. 35. Kindergartners are annoying, but you can't tell them that. A substitute teacher forgot the classroom intercom was on and muttered, "These kids are absolute monsters," to herself. The principal and every parent in the pickup line heard her assessment loud and clear. She was escorted out during recess. 36. If you work at a 5-star hotel, you cannot test the merchandise. A housekeeper thought a vacant penthouse suite was the perfect spot for a nap. She woke up 3 hours later to find a VIP guest standing over her, demanding to know why the maid was drooling on his Egyptian cotton pillows. 37. Security tags are not meant to be forced. A new bridal shop associate forgot to use the magnet and tried to pry an ink tag off a $2,000 gown with pliers. The tag exploded, covering the white silk in permanent blue dye just hours before the customer arrived. 38. Physics is a cruel mistress. A stock boy tried to pull a pallet of expensive red wine with a manual jack, but took the corner way too fast. Centrifugal force took over, sending hundreds of bottles crashing down. The aisle looked like a horror movie murder scene, and he smelled like a walking vineyard. 39. Being a lifeguard requires one very specific skill: swimming. A teen hired for the summer pool season jumped in to save a drowning kid, only to start flailing and drowning himself. The kid actually had to help the lifeguard to the ladder. That is a resume stain that never washes off. 40. Payroll data is top secret for a reason. An HR assistant meant to email the salary spreadsheet to the CFO, but auto-filled the all-staff list instead. Suddenly, everyone knew that the lazy guy in marketing made 10 grand more than them. The office riot that followed was legendary. 41. Mechanics have a simple rule: put the plug back in. A lube tech drained a customer's Mercedes, forgot to replace the drain plug, and filled it with new oil that immediately poured onto the floor. He then started the engine, seizing it permanently within seconds. A truly expensive silence followed. 42. The store intercom is not your personal karaoke machine. A bored night shift stalker thought the store was empty and started belting out Taylor Swift over the PA system. He didn't realize the district manager was doing a surprise walkthrough in aisle 4. His concert tour ended abruptly. 43. Do not touch. Signs at the zoo are not suggestions. A new groundskeeper decided the tiger looked lonely and tried to pet it through the fence. The tiger disagreed. He kept his hand, but he lost his job and gained a very scary lesson about the food chain. 44. Small talk is dangerous territory. At a business lunch, a new account manager joked about how plastic and fake the women in the restaurant looked. The client stared at him dead-eyed and whispered, "That woman in the red dress is my wife." The check came, and the deal died. 45. Conveyor belts do not stop for your incompetence. A packaging line worker couldn't keep up with the speed of the cookie boxes, so he started shoving the overflow into his pockets and eating them. He looked like a chipmunk when the supervisor walked up and asked for an explanation. 46. Pest control requires identifying the enemy. A rookie exterminator was sent to a basement to treat for ants. He saw a row of glass tanks and sprayed them, thinking it was a nest. He successfully killed the homeowner's prize-winning tarantula collection and his own career in 10 seconds. 47. Coffee addicts are strict about their beans. A rookie barista at a busy downtown cafe accidentally filled the regular hopper with decaf during his first morning rush. 3 hours later, a mob of caffeine-deprived zombies nearly burned the shop down because the coffee wasn't working. 48. Windows need to be up in a car wash. It seems obvious, right? A new attendant drove a customer's convertible into the automated tunnel with the top down on his first hour. The interior was blasted with hot wax and water, turning a luxury leather interior into a soggy, soapy swamp. 49. White powder looks like white powder. A baker's assistant confused the salt bin with the sugar bin while making a batch of chocolate chip cookies. They sold 200 cookies before the first customer came back gagging. He managed to give half the town hypertension in one morning. 50. Grave digging requires finesse. On his first burial, a new cemetery worker was operating the mechanical lowering device. Instead of slow, he panicked and hit free fall. The casket slammed into the bottom of the grave with a massive thud that shook the ground and horrified the grieving family. 51. Gravity is undefeated, especially at weddings. A catering server carrying a massive 5-tier wedding cake tried to be a hero and catch a falling fork with his foot. He lost his balance, and the cake face-planted onto the dance floor moments before the bride arrived. He single-handedly canceled the reception. 52. Fuel pumps are color-coded for a reason. A valet at a high-end country club decided to be helpful and fill up a member's brand-new Ferrari. He didn't check the cap and pumped 10 gallons of diesel into the unleaded engine. The car died instantly, costing more to fix than his entire life's earnings. 53. Decimal points matter significantly in retail. A new electronics store employee priced a row of 4K televisions at $99 instead of $999. By the time management noticed, savvy shoppers had bought the entire stock, costing the store nearly 50 grand in under an hour. 54. Bathroom etiquette is simple. Silence is golden. A gregarious new hire stood at the urinal next to the CEO and decided to strike up a conversation about his weird rash. The CEO zipped up, washed his hands without saying a word, and called HR before he even dried them. 55. Cleaning computer hardware requires compressed air, not soap and water. An overzealous intern decided the server rack looked dusty and took a wet sponge and a bucket of warm, soapy water to the mainframes. He successfully cleaned off the dust, but he also scrubbed away the company's entire database. 56. Checking the address is step 1 for any painter. A contractor was sent to a house on Maple Street, but he went to Maple Avenue instead. He spent 6 hours painting a confused family's white colonial house bright purple before the actual homeowner came home and asked why his house looked like a grape. 57. Tree removal requires precision. A landscaping trainee cut down a massive oak tree that blocked the view, thinking he was showing initiative. Turns out, that tree was a protected historical landmark on city property, and the fine was large enough to bankrupt the company instantly. 58. Chemistry class should have taught you that water and hot oil explode. A fast food rookie saw a block of ice in the fry basket and dunked it into the 400-degree grease to melt it. The resulting explosion of boiling oil scarred the ceiling tiles and nearly burned the kitchen down. 59. Security guards watch the cameras, but who watches the guards? A new security officer spent his first hour digging for gold in his nose and inspecting the findings, not realizing his station was being live-streamed to the main control center. He was nicknamed the Miner until he quit in shame. 60. You had one job: keep the ambulance running. An EMT trainee jumped out to grab a stretcher and locked the doors with the engine running and the keys inside. The firefighters had to break the window of the ambulance to get the patient in, which is professionally embarrassing. 61. Copy-paste functions are dangerous. A junior analyst meant to paste a line of code into the company-wide Slack channel. Instead, he pasted his last Google search, which was, "How to fake your own death to get out of work." The CEO replied with a simple thumbs-up emoji, and security was waiting at his desk. 62. Museums are for looking, not touching. A security guard at an art gallery got bored and poked a modern art sculpture to see if it was soft. It wasn't soft, but it was unstable. It toppled over, shattering a $100,000 piece into a million abstract shards. 63. Access to the police database is strictly monitored. A rookie dispatcher got bored on the night shift and decided to look up her ex-boyfriend's criminal record just for fun. She didn't know the system automatically flags unauthorized searches. An internal affairs officer walked in 10 minutes later and personally escorted her out of the precinct. 64. Wedding dress shops are high stakes. A consultant was steaming a $3,000 lace gown when she got distracted by a text. She left the steamer on the delicate fabric too long, melting a hole right in the center of the bodice an hour before the bride's final fitting. 65. Modern offices love clear glass walls, but nervous people don't always see them. A new hire was rushing to a meeting, missed the door, and ran full speed into a floor-to-ceiling glass panel. He bounced off with a loud thud, leaving a greasy faceprint and a nosebleed as his introduction to the team. 66. Carpet layers need to check the floor first. A rookie rolled out and glued down expensive plush carpeting in a master bedroom, completely covering the floor vents. The furnace overheated, the glue melted, and the room smelled like burning chemicals and failure. 67. The Dewey Decimal System is not optional. A library page decided organizing by color looked way more aesthetic than organizing by number. He spent 4 hours rearranging the non-fiction section into a rainbow, making it impossible to find any book and infuriating every librarian within a 5-mile radius. 68. Hair dye is chemistry, not magic. A salon assistant mixed up the bowls and applied jet black instead of golden blonde to a client's hair. The customer, who was preparing for her wedding the next day, looked in the mirror and screamed loud enough to shatter glass. 69. Treadmills are dangerous conveyor belts. A new gym staffer tried to show off by jumping onto a running machine to clean it. He didn't check the speed, and it shot him off the back like a cannonball, sending him crashing into a rack of dumbbells and breaking 2 ribs. 70. Animal control is serious business. A volunteer at a shelter was cleaning the cat room and forgot to latch the door. 50 cats escaped into the lobby, where a dog obedience class was taking place. The resulting fur-flying chaos was like a cartoon brawl come to life. 71. Cut the blue line, not the red one, is pretty basic advice. A plumber's assistant ignored it, sliced through a pressurized main sewage pipe in a finished basement, and unleashed a literal brown tsunami. He spent his first and last hour wading through human waste while the homeowner screamed from the top of the stairs. 72. Eating the customer's toppings is a bold strategy. On his very first run, a delivery driver got hungry, opened the box, and picked off every pepperoni slice. The customer saw the grease outlines where the meat used to be and called the store while the driver was still in the driveway. 73. Laminating machines get extremely hot, something the new intern learned the hard way. He tried to laminate his ID badge but forgot to take it out of the plastic holder first. The plastic melted instantly, fusing the machine shut and filling the HR office with toxic black smoke. He didn't get a badge, he got a bill. 74. Writing. Happy birthday is hard if you cannot spell. A bakery decorator wrote Happy Bathday in bright blue icing on a sweet 16 cake. When the mom pointed it out, he tried to fix it with his thumb, turning the cake into a blue, unreadable smudge that cost the shop a full refund. 75. If you can't drive manual, don't pretend you can. A valet hopped into a vintage Porsche, ground the gears like a coffee grinder, and stalled it halfway up a steep ramp. He panicked, released the clutch, and rolled backward into a limousine, creating a very expensive sandwich of luxury metal. 76. Do not erase means exactly what it says. A new janitor saw a whiteboard covered in complex diagrams and equations and scrubbed it sparkling clean to make a good impression. He didn't realize he just erased the company's entire product roadmap for the next 5 years. 77. Wheelchair races are fun until they aren't. 2 orderlies decided to race empty chairs down the hallway. One lost control, drifted around a corner, and took out a doctor carrying a tray of vaccines. The crash destroyed $3,000 of medicine and bruised the ego of the chief of staff. 78. Naked mannequins can be traumatizing. A retail associate stripped a mannequin in the front window to change its outfit but forgot to put up the privacy screen. A passing school bus full of children got a full view of the anatomically correct plastic figure, and the store manager got a dozen angry phone calls. 79. Roofing requires a steady hand, which this guy did not have. He fumbled his hammer near the edge, and it plummeted 2 stories down. It smashed directly through the windshield of the homeowner's brand new Mercedes parked in the driveway. The car alarm was the only applause he got for that performance. 80. Do not feed the monkeys applies to your lunch, too. A zookeeper left his ham sandwich on a railing. A crafty macaque snatched it, ate the plastic wrapper, and then threw the ham back at a group of tourists. The vet bill to check the monkey's stomach was deducted from the keeper's final paycheck. 81. AirPlay is a traitor. A sales rep was mirroring his iPad to the conference room TV for a demo. He got a Tinder notification that popped up on the big screen. "Becky, you up?" followed by a very suggestive emoji. The client, a conservative banker, was not amused, and the deal evaporated instantly. 82. Redacting documents requires actual black ink, not just a highlighter. A paralegal blacked out sensitive names with a yellow marker and scanned it. The opposing counsel received the file, read every single name perfectly clearly through the yellow tint, and thanked the firm for handing them the case on a silver platter. 83. Privacy is the main product of a hotel. A front desk clerk gave a new guest a key card to room 302, which was already occupied. The new guest walked in on a married couple in a very compromising position. The hotel comped the room, and the clerk was comped a permanent vacation. 84. That big red button is not a light switch. A factory line worker leaned against the emergency stop panel to tie his shoe. The entire assembly line ground to a halt, sirens blared, and 500 workers stood around for an hour while maintenance reset the system. He tied his shoe and walked out forever. 85. Showing a house is hard when you can't get in. A real estate assistant put the only set of keys back in the lockbox but forgot the combination code. She stood on the porch with potential buyers for 20 minutes, frantically guessing numbers until they just got in their car and drove away to buy a different house. 86. Power trips at the community pool are pathetic. A rookie lifeguard blew his whistle every 10 seconds for minor infractions like splashing too hard. Parents revolted, surrounded the chair, and demanded the manager swap him out. He was demoted to towel boy before his sunscreen even dried. 87. Spoilers are a firing offense. An usher cleaning the theater after a screening loudly discussed the twist ending of the movie while the next crowd was walking in. 50 people heard that the main character dies, and they nearly rioted in the lobby demanding refunds. The manager was not impressed. 88. Time locks are not suggestions. A bank teller went into the vault to grab cash drawers 5 minutes before the automatic timer engaged. He got distracted texting, the heavy door swung shut, and he spent the night locked inside with millions of dollars and no bathroom. The fire department had to drill him out the next morning. 89. Smart doorbells record everything. A delivery driver dropped a fragile package marked glassware, heard the crash inside the box, and then tried to kick the box gently to hide the dent. He looked up and saw the Ring camera lens staring right at him. The homeowner posted the video before the truck even left the street. 90. Take with food is different from apply topically. A pharmacy tech slapped a rectal use only sticker on a bottle of eye drops as a prank, thinking he'd catch it before it went out. He didn't. The patient called back in a panic, and the tech lost his license over a sticker. 91. Teeth are expensive, but dignity is priceless. A dental assistant took a panoramic X-ray but forgot to ask the patient to remove his dentures first. The resulting image showed a terrifying human with 2 distinct rows of teeth, looking like a shark-human hybrid. The dentist laughed, but the patient did not find the extra radiation funny. 92. Think Fast is a terrible game to play with $50,000 merchandise. A car salesman tossed the keys of a limited edition Mustang to a porter across the lot. The porter missed, and the keys sailed beautifully into a storm drain. They spent the rest of the day fishing in the sewer with a magnet on a string. 93. Remote access is a powerful tool in the wrong hands. An IT help desk tech logged into User Smith to fix a printer driver but accidentally picked User Smith, the CEO. The boss watched in real time as his mouse moved on its own, clicked Select All, and deleted his entire presentation folder. The tech was disconnected from the network and his job simultaneously. 94. The drive-through headset is a two-way radio, not a private diary. A cashier sighed loudly and muttered, "Another cheapskate ordering off the dollar menu," thinking the line was closed. It wasn't. The customer drove up to the window, threw the drink back through the opening, and demanded to speak to someone who wasn't an idiot. 95. Surveying equipment costs more than your car. A rookie set up his robotic total station in the middle of an active driveway to get a better angle. A delivery truck backed up, didn't see the tripod, and crushed $20,000 of precision optics into a pile of sad, expensive dust. 96. Movie day is supposed to be the easiest day for a teacher. A substitute popped in a DVD she brought from home without checking the case. She thought it was a cartoon. It was actually an unrated horror film. 21st graders went home traumatized, and the school board held an emergency meeting just to fire her. 97. Fire codes exist for a reason. An office assistant lit 20 candles on a birthday cake directly underneath a heat sensor. The sprinklers triggered instantly, showering the cake, the birthday girl, and the computers in a deluge of gray, smelly water. The party was definitely over, and so was her employment. 98. Stacking boxes requires basic structural engineering skills. A picker tried to create a mega stack to save time, building a cardboard tower 12 feet high. It wobbled, tipped, and created a domino effect that knocked over 3 other aisles. He spent his first shift digging himself out of a cardboard avalanche. 99. GPS is not foolproof. A pizza delivery guy dropped 10 large pies at a house party, took the cash, and left. He returned an hour later realizing it was the wrong address. The partygoers had already eaten the evidence, and he had to pay for the replacement pizzas out of his own empty pockets. 100. Spelling counts, especially when it is in permanent ink. An apprentice was allowed to do a simple text tattoo on a walk-in client. He focused so hard on the needle depth that he forgot to check the stencil. The client walked out with angle instead of angel stamped on her shoulder. Geometry is forever. 101. Quitting on the first day is bold, but doing it over the PA system is legendary. A grocery clerk got overwhelmed, grabbed the microphone, and announced, "I quit. This place smells like ham and sadness." He dropped the mic, walked out, and became a local legend for all the wrong reasons. That was a masterclass in instant termination. Now, I want the dirty truth. What is the biggest mistake you have ever made at work that you successfully blamed on someone else? Don't lie. I know you did it. Confess your sins in the comments right now. If seeing this level of incompetence made you feel smart, smash that like button and subscribe.